がいるウルトラの母がいるそして太郎がここにいる空を見ろ星を見ろ宇宙を見ろ彼方から迫り来る赤いヒーロー何かが地球に起きるとき腕のパンチが輝いて太郎が飛び立つ太郎が戦う太郎太郎太郎ウルトラマン太郎
Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 77. My name is Red, I'm joined by Mel.
Finally, after so long, another vampire plant.
Hell yeah, it's a good vampire plant too. I'm a fan. No Brad this week. Brad is away. Brad is busy. Coming up, we have 3 more episodes of Ultraman Taro. We got bugs, we got walruses, and we got killer children.
Really rude of Brad to not be here on the Walrus episode.
On the walrus episode, the return of the walrus. So sad.
All the Ultra Q staples come back.
Hell yeah.
We just need a
That's
weird
what we
rock.
like. Yeah, weird rock.
We already had pith helmets.
Yeah, we've already had the pith helmets. True. The ultra. It was. I can't remember which episode it was that first introduced. It might have been the octopus episode when they whacked on the pith helmet. Oh no, it was like in the first batch the monkey.
Was there? I thought it was the.
There was the octopus
was
is when
sooner.
the gang wore pith helmets, but I think in a photo someone was wearing a pith helmet in the monkey episode. Yeah, this is all we're reaching back to the long lost history of 2023.
Yeah, like I barely remember those Ultra Q episodes.
Yeah.
That's Q as in Q, not QE. Well, I guess
Q is in
it's
Q is in Q.
But also Q as in Q.
Before any of that, we got some stuff to talk about. Do you or I want to go first?
I guess I can go first.
You can go. Yeah, you can go first.
Yeah. Only got a couple of main things.
Sure.
First of all, that movie that I mentioned I was going to watch for last week but didn't. I got around to it like immediately after the podcast finished recording last week.
Was it good?
Yeah. A bit of a shame Brad isn't here because he was the one who suggested me. The movie was Robocop.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Verhoeven.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, part of the reason I did it was because when I talked about Starship Troopers, Brad was like, "Oh, you should watch RoboCop," and so now I watched RoboCop, and
hell yeah,
it is more fun going to that movie knowing he did Starship Troopers after watching Starship Troopers, because then I can, not only am I appreciating the movie on its own terms, I'm also seeing like the stylistic similarities because you have the weird dystopian commercials in both, and it's good.
It's like slightly different flavors. It's so good. It's so good getting his take on both.
Yeah. Like one is more like a neoliberal TV hell in RoboCop, while Starship Troopers is a lot more like weirdly before its time in a way, like propagandistic YouTube ads in your browser.
It's so Starship Troopers is like it's weird how like when that comes out it's like, oh yeah, this is like good, and it's like, it's got like this dystopian vibe to it if you're tuned in, and if it's got but it's like an action movie with some with some cool stuff going on, and then like everything happens, and it's like, oh, this is just an incredible movie that knew everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Robocop.
Yeah. I feel like I don't need like a summary. It's just like, you know, it is weird because it feels like it's drawing upon like the context of particular times, like, you know, the 80s as it was, like, the crime-ridden dystopic cities in the 80s as they were presented, which of course is usually interactus, a racist dog whistle, but, you know, and, you know, it's all you know, heavily militarization of the police, privatization, all that. There's like a weird through line of like a subplot of like the police going on strike and the fear of the no one will solve crime, and I'm like, I'm not sure what to think about this one because it's complex feelings, but also it is like a satirical movie at the end of the day. So
yeah,
there's a really cool stop motion robot.
There is
that just shoots a guy for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's really funny. First of all, the resolution of the movie is really good. You're fired.
Yeah,
it's good. Also,
I have seen people call the puppet, the clear doll at the end falling out of the building, have called that bad special effects. I'm like, no, you have no vision. This is
it's like when they threw Doll Kotor off the boat. It's good.
It's good. It's perfect.
Yeah, the Robocop suit is cool. There's just a lot of cool effects. If I'm not mistaken, Robocop inspires at least a few Toku Hero shows as well.
I bet. I fucking bet. Yeah.
One of the Metal Hero series is called Japan. It's specifically Robocop send up.
Nice.
I forget what year they came out, but I think it was like late 80s, like 89 or something. Let me just check.
I'm looking at the
89 to 90. Yeah, it's
89 to 90. Nice.
Yeah. Premise of the series combines elements from an American film Robocop and the 1970s Toku show Robo Detective. So that's fun.
Yeah.
One day I'll do that series, but it won't be for some time. Anyway. But yeah, it was a good time. It's like, in some ways, of its time, but in other ways, you know, we're still living in the era of neoliberalism.
Yeah.
For now.
I'm looking at the Verhoeven run from Robocop through to Starship Troopers.
Yeah, I found out when I was watching last week that he also did Total Recall. I'm like, well, now I can watch Total Recall.
Total Recall, Basic Instinct, Showgirls, and it's like
we did Showgirls too.
Yes.
And that's a movie I don't know anything about, but
Showgirls famously so Verhoeven that everyone was convinced for years that it's a terrible movie. It's experienced some pushback on that idea. There's been some pushback on that idea for a while, but recently it's become you can tweet about how Showgirls is actually good, and no one will tell you you're just a fucking idiot. Okay,
because I didn't actually know anything about the movie other than it was a movie that existed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Funny enough, in the recent Shelf by Genre bonus episode, they mentioned another movie by him, Flesh and Blood, that he did. So I'm like, damn, he's showing up everywhere for me these days.
What is Flesh and Blood? Oh, it's the one right before Robocop. Oh, this is a Paul Verhoeven, this is a fantasy movie?
I think it's historical.
Oh, historical.
Historical, Renaissance, Italian wars.
This sounds... Okay. This is going on the list.
In the pod episode, it was Austin pitching it to Cameron as like this movie may have inspired Berserk. So
Oh, it stars Rutger Hauer. Excellent.
but yeah. Robocop, cold take,
Oh.
but it's pretty good.
Oh. I see the angle on inspiring Berserk. Because Jack Thompson stars as Hawkwood. The actual Hawkwood. The guy that lived.
Yeah.
That existed. Okay. I see. Captain of a band. Yeah. Okay.
Watching this movie with Name of the Rose and being like, damn, these are just like taking historical figures and making them into weird guys.
Yeah. Sometimes historical figures were weird guys.
Yeah. Just like in Fate Stay Night.
Yes. Absolutely. Sometimes they're not even historical. Sometimes they're fictional.
The lines get blurred.
The lines get the lines get blurred, and sometimes the lines are so clear and not blurry and definite that it raises more questions. Fate's weird. Fate is very strange.
Yeah. Like, you didn't have to do that to Thomas Edison. He doesn't deserve that.
There's also there's a guy in Fate Stay Night whose existence implies that you could summon like any fictional character if people like them enough.
I mean, that happens in Fate Grand Order because you can summon the Count of Monte Cristo.
Right. Yes. 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 I don't. Yeah. I'd forgotten that one. Like, I never think about Fate Grand Order.
Well, he's also Melty Blood for some reason.
Yeah. Anyway. Fate.
Yeah.
Fuamoko started playing Fate Stay Night.
Yeah,
Just
I know this because he posted that they got the costumes wrong.
They're the wrong way around.
Opposite.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, Fuwawa is Saber and Mokoko is Rin, and I was like, no, Fuwawa is the evil sister. We all know this. Why is she dressed up?
We all know this. I say, nodding.
Yeah, you know this. Yeah, of course.
This is the face I'm making when you say this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I understand. Wakaru. Don't understand at all.
I never saw season 2 of Pop Team Epic.
Obari goes off at some point. I know that much.
That's good. One day I'll check it out.
Yeah.
It's probably worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's literally a line in the show that's like, "Are you joking? We wasted Obari on this dumb joke."
That reminds me in the last
good.
episode. It's not the last episode. One of the last episodes, later episodes of Bakemonogatari. I think this joke is also to some degree also in the novel, but like Araki is going to do something, and Senjigahara is like, "Wait, don't worry, I'll cover for you by pretending I'm you in class. My voice actress Chiro Saito is pretty good."
That's great. That's good. What else have you been up to?
Yeah. So new anime season starting. Last one's ending. So I'll go over some stuff real quick. This one is more of a obligatory. I did this as homework. Only one episode out. The new show Dandadan started.
Oh yeah.
And so far it seems fun. Episode 1 didn't fully grab me as much as it could, and part of that is because a big part of the plot of the episode 1 is joking about sexual assault that is happening, kind of.
Yeah, this is weirdly the two things I know about Dandadan is like, yeah, you should read it. Also, chapter 1 has like this weird rape thing in it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
just read it. Don't, it's not like that later. Don't worry.
The fact that other people are like, yeah, it's not like this, makes it better. So we'll see how that goes. The main reason, honestly, I probably wouldn't have done this if it wasn't just for the fact that like, person on the Ultraman podcast going, damn, this show is like shamelessly, I guess manga too, and shamelessly inspired by Ultraman. Down to like the villainous aliens being like blank Seijin, and here's a screenshot.
Let me see this. I can see it. I'm seeing it.
Not even just like the Spacian beam pose. But also just like, this is just slamming Data and Bolton together into a design. Yes,
absolutely.
And presumably, I think I was under the impression that like more of the creatures are going to be like heavily Ultraman inspired. To the fact that like, you watch the OP and it's very shamelessly doing the Ultraman like silhouette kaiju.
Oh, sick.
Have you seen the OP yet? I could just
no. First anime to do this since the Big O.
Yeah. that is a thing that we should at some point talk about a bit more in its context, but like the Big O is basically just like a Heisei Ultraman show that's also noir mecha Batman. But
good combo,
yeah,
to be honest. Yeah,
mostly because a lot of the writers were Ultraman writers, but like yeah, that OP is it didn't hit me until after the fact, but yeah, the OP is like shamelessly doing the Ultraman OP silhouette thing, because it is an Ultraman show at the end of the day. But yeah,
cool.
You can just like peruse that while I talk about.
Oh, Creepy Nuts! Creepy Nuts are the new OP ED band that you get.
I mean, is it? Have they done more besides like Call of the Night?
They did. Creepy Nuts did the Mashal second season OP, I think.
Okay.
The Blim Blam Blim Blim Blam one. If you don't know, if you haven't heard that song, you're like, what the fuck did you just say, Red?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I maybe just missed out on which shows they were doing.
It just they're like yeah, and that one, to be honest, that one they did for the Call of the Night they didn't do it for Call of the Night, did they? It was just they
did two. What?
Oh, they did two. Okay.
No, wait. Was the OP also by them? Because I know the ED was the song Call of the Night, which is where the manga Call of the Night gets its name from.
Yeah, it gets its name from. Yeah,
but I wasn't sure.
I don't know.
I forgot if they also
don't know about the OP.
The OP might be someone else. But
I haven't watched the show. To be honest, I would probably read the manga, but that's just how I am. And to be honest, that's probably how I'm going to be with this show too.
Yeah, that's fine.
Although this OP is pretty good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It is kind of a fun premise, just like girl who believes in ghosts and boy who believes in aliens try to like convince the other is real, and then they both get like possessed, abducted in a way that like, well, now we have to believe in both. And like the boy who didn't believe in ghosts gets like ghost powers, and the girl who, it's a neat twist. It's fun.
Girls be like always believing in ghosts. Boys though, they believe in it. Aliens is boys stuff.
Yeah.
We all know this.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
People are popping off about this show. So yeah, I will be reading this.
Yeah. It's homework. Asterisk.
It's an Ultraman show.
Yeah.
Oh, the you know what? I can see the Ultraman in the title as well. I can see the logo looks a little bit Ultraman-ish to me.
Okay.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. They need like a colorful collection of Thunderbird guys.
They do.
Or else this is just like, I guess, more Ultra Q coded.
Otherwise, yeah.
I guess theoretically you could, if they wanted to, do like an Ultra Q style show that happens to have an Ultraman in it, and rather than make it a defense team thing.
Oh, that would be fun.
That'd be fun if they ever did that. I forget if they actually do. So.
You don't know who the Ultraman is?
That'd be fun.
Or finding out who the Ultraman is like one of the central plots of the show.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Ultraman Among Us.
Yeah. They eventually figure out it's someone on the team, but they don't know who it is.
Yeah. That'd be pretty good.
This show would be great.
We should write Ultraman.
Yeah, we should. Tsuburaya. First of all, hire a translator for us, and then let us just write. Cool. This one is on my radar, yeah.
Yeah. I'll see how it goes. Hopefully the future episodes are better. For now. Stylish, at least. As for stuff that's done, short one and then maybe more substantial one. Because they were going on. I actually watched a decent amount this season, and not a lot of it is worth talking about. Like, enjoyed my time of it, but I'm not going to tell you about Slime season 3, even if it's it's evil.
Oh yeah. We're gonna make the human monster co-prosperity sphere.
Yeah. Why are you using that word?
Full frontal. That was my idea.
Japan can't stop itself from being like, here's a progressive idea that we're pushing using the progressive idea label that we use to push for empire.
What if all of Asia was like friends and we were the biggest friend?
Yeah.
we were like the one in charge of the friend group.
Yeah, the problem is Japan kind of tarnished the idea of Pan-Asianism in a way that Pan-Africanism hasn't been tarnished.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, another show from, well, first of all, I watched the Deer Show, and it's a show that I watched.
Yeah, I hear it was mostly just mid.
Yeah, some people were weirdly like,
this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and also when the show started, they felt like they were personally offended that a comedy show tried to do marketing.
Right.
That was weird, but at the end of the day, it was just it's a mid comedy show. It mostly had 2 jokes.
Yeah,
and sometimes it landed.
At least we got that OP. It's a pretty good OP.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let me get my favorite line from this show.
Okay.
I'm not counting it as talking about the show, but I'm cheating.
No. Yeah. We cheat all the time on this show.
Yeah. Rip to future me when I try and figure out how to do time scamps. Because I've been doing that for the intro.
Yeah. You can call this potpourri.
Yeah. My
Miscellaneous.
Yeah. I've done that a few times just where I'm there's just too much nonsense that's not focused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know why this is this one is the funniest thing to me in this whole show, even though it's
the the ultimate primate, a deer. So true.
So true. Anyway, a more funny show was Mayonaka Punch, which was real Zombieland energy. Oh,
that's good.
Without the multimedia project behind it. But
okay.
It's basically about a girl who gets kicked out of her the YouTube channel she made with her high school friends because she punches one of them on camera.
Oh, I see.
And then ends up encountering some vampires and deciding to make a YouTube channel with them, and the hijinks that ensue because the vampires are all losers.
Yeah.
And it's also she's a loser because she's just like an asshole and just like the arc of the show is basically like the vampires live in peace with humanity in the shadows because they're ruled by someone called Mother, and she's like, listen, you can't reveal that you're vampires or like terrorize humans or else we're shutting down the channel and like imprisoning you or whatever. And like kind of the arc of the show is like there's like the girl wants to reach like 1 million subscribers to like one up her friends. Something happens that like the vampires want to keep their channel going because they have fun and they like, you know, the protagonist, and like the main vampire girl has like a crush on the protagonist and wants to suck her blood. As per like the deal of the devil, where she's like, yeah, if you help me make this YouTube channel, I'll let you suck my blood later. And
right,
there's like their cushy home in human society is at risk of being taken away from them if they don't like get 1 million subscribers. And then like this is the third like sub arc of like the protagonist being like wanting to like do YouTube stuff, but like because of what happened with all her friends and like the hate comments she gets, she's like, well, I don't want to be on camera, so I'm fine doing the editing. And like over the course of the show being like, well, actually I do want to be on camera, but I'm just like, I deal with the haters kind of thing. And then also, you know, reconciling with her old friends. And you know, it's fun, it's good, it's not like a must see, but I think it's, you know, pretty solid 7.5, 8 out of 10. If you just want something like fun and cute with like that's also just like absolutely ridiculous, I'd recommend it. First episode has like a really good gag when the protagonist meets the vampire for the first time. That is relevant to this podcast.
Okay. Okay.
She like makes the cross.
Space.
No, space. He's like, no, it's a cross.
Classic.
Yeah. As we've established on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. I guess the final thing, literally just ended today. Went out of my way to finish it before we started recording. Season 2 of Oshi no Ko just been wrapped up.
Oh, right.
This is like
yeah,
main big one for the season. And it was really good. I've heard that the arc adapted here is like the fan favorite one, I think.
Okay.
It's mainly like Aqua, Akane, and Kenna are like enrolled in a play that's an adaptation, that's a stage show adaptation of a manga. And the first like bit of the show is like the trials and tribulations of like the production is falling apart, especially because the manga author does not like some of the compromises made for the show for the stage show. And it's like, well, you gotta do it all over again.
I see.
And like how it's like trying to figure out, well, the manga author is a perfectionist, but also there's like things you actually have to do, even if there's like things lacking in this, and you know, sort of the back and forth of like getting things to how they want to be when there's like only so little time before they have to actually premiere the stage show that is set to premiere in like a month. Yeah, and it's like I'm thinking like the script writer for the play is a hack, despite the fact that they're a talented playwriter, but like the concessions they had to make And part of it is also like there's like all of the creative choices were done through middlemen and not by talking to each other directly. And a lot of the resolution is like having them actually talk to each other directly about what they want to do.
This is like Shirobako.
Yeah, like like when it's sort of like a major plot point is like they take like they have to show the manga author a different play the guy's done to be like, listen, this is what he does when he's cooking.
I see.
And then like there's like a couple episodes dedicated to like the play itself, which is cool.
Nice.
And then like the last few episodes of the season are like the denouement, where it's sort of like transitioning over to the next arc, where we're kind of seeing like the culmination of Aqua's arc, where he's like, for various reasons, he's like feels like I don't need to do this revenge thing anymore, and like maybe I can look at my relationships as like actual relationships rather than like tools to be used in service of my absurd revenge plot, and like actually be a person like I want to be but don't allow myself to be.
Shaw Aznable. Sorry.
While simultaneously, Ruby seems to be at long last actually taking more of a central, shifting towards like a being more important to the plot. So far, like the first two seasons is primarily Aqua focused, and Ruby seems to be shifting more towards the end of the season now. Like she's gonna be more important, and also going on her own like punished darkness arc because of things that are discovered, and there appears to be like the whole, for a lot of like the first part of the season, like the because of like the focus was on, like a lot of the show is like focused on like the actual industry side stuff of the production stuff, so like the actual supernatural revenge plot stuff is sometimes like in the background, but now it seems like the actual supernatural elements with like the role reincarnation stuff is coming more to focus. There's like some characters entering the scene who seem to be like more heavily involved with that stuff, but we don't really know what their deal is yet because we barely got to see them. But guy shows up for like 5 seconds, says something cryptic, and then it fades to black, kind of thing going on. So season 3 obviously announced immediately, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm very much looking forward to it. I do feel like we talked a bit about it last year, but like there's definitely things in season 1 which can like are eyebrow raising, between like the weird alien relating premise of like starting the 90-minute episode 1 and like the kind of fraught thing they did with like Akane's plot with like being directly based off a real life event in a way that's maybe a bit not ethical. But season 2 was kind of just more like it's just good without any of those complications. It was just like I think it was just a solid, really engaging thriller, comedy, etc., all the different things. And it's like, if you already liked season 1 with like its eyebrow raising elements, you can just go into season 2 and be like, it's good, it's more of it, I'm looking forward to more, I'm curious where it's going, because I don't know if the manga's done or if it's close to done. I don't know if this will be the final season. It might be, but I also don't want to look it up too much, just because don't want to spoil myself. Reading the manga at some point might be worthwhile doing, but I'll see if and when I do that. But it's good. I liked it. And it's worth watching, I think.
Nice. Yeah, people, Oshinoko, big deal. I hear about it a lot. Also,
I did, because of the kind of play they did, I found out there's a type of play in Japan, which they did in the show, called a 2.5D 1, because they're like exclusively based off of like anime, but like there's a kind of stage show where they use like 360-degree stages with rotating seats, and I'm like, this sounds ridiculous. But also, why are you only using it for anime stuff?
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the audience is in the middle and the stage is around them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like,
That's a reverse theater.
Yeah, they use some like rotational stuff to like, you know, do stuff with like the chef set shuffling, and obviously, you know, it's not like there's stuff happening behind the audience, but like they use like the rotation to like do stuff with like establishing scenes, maybe like having more room to like have sets up permanently rather than having to change sets all the time, probably, things like that. It just seems like, damn, there's some like real advancement of stuff you could do with this format that you don't necessarily need to do only for anime properties, but does seem to be what they're only used for in real life.
That is a little weird.
Like, I'm just like, yeah, like, I'm sure there's like other people who are like into theater who would like to do something with this.
I suppose there's not. Yeah, you'd have to start think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how new it is. That's weird though.
Yeah, it seems to be like also an only Japan thing too, which is like, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
wow. That's you?
Yeah.
Okay. But I've had a weird week. I have done nothing but play like 4X games and watch Amelia Watson streams on YouTube. Because we're recording this on a Sunday. Last Sunday, we recorded our podcast and then Amelia Watson had her last stream.
Yeah.
She graduated. So Amelia Watson's goes kind of a big deal. She was like she was in the first generation of like Hololive English.
Yeah. I remember that. She's like the same gen as like Ina and Kiara.
Yeah, that's one. That's two.
And you know,
do you have the other two? Yeah, that's. Do you have the other one? Do you have the last one?
The last one might be the one I forget. Oh no, Gura.
It's okay. There we go. I was like, it's hilarious. This is the one.
It's because I feel like I only see her in art and not because of like.
She doesn't stream much anymore because it turns out if you do that much work for like 3 years straight or whatever, you just kind of have to stop working.
Yeah. Burnout real.
Burnout real.
It's like you know, fresh freak here. If you don't take a break, your body will make you.
There's a bunch of like there's a lot of like, there's also just like a degree of like, you know, suddenly you've got enough money to go to the doctor and it's like, well, now I'm just gonna go get everything done. Yeah, anyway, Amelia Watson was part of that gen, and she graduated. It was she was like, she was kind of the first streamer I watched like stream. She was the first like VTuber I watched like full streams of, which is why I'm actually talking about it seriously and not just bothering you about it and going, "Hey, isn't it funny that I'm bothering you about this?"
you DM'd in the group chat being like, just as a forewarning, I will be talking about this week. It's
just to give you like an actual sincere warning. I will genuinely be talking about Amelia Watson, one of my favorite VTubers who left. It was like her Outer Wilds streams that she did was like the first VTuber streams that I watched like all the way through, and then I was like, okay, this is my one. This is my one. It's Amelia Watson. The rest are just kind of I'm watching in clips. It did not stay at one. It did not stay at one. But she's she's the OG. So it's it's sad she's gone, but it's kind of inevitable she was going to be the first one that goes, because she's like, her whole thing is that she's been really project oriented this whole time, and it's clear that there are limitations on that when you are also Hololive talent. And so she is.
What I thought you were going to say is that like Hololive is a project and C-Shot is completion.
No, it's more like whenever like Amelia Watson, like there's a lot of organizational. So there's like, if anyone in Hololive, if any of the like VTubers in Hololive were going to split off and like start a VTuber company, it was going to be Amelia Watson.
Oh, okay.
She's probably not doing VTubing stuff, but she is. She has. I assume she has left because there's stuff. She is clearly interested in doing stuff other than VTubing right now. And good luck to her. I'm sure she'll be fine, because like by the end, like over the years, she's been kind of running this little group of artists adjacent to her that she's like commissioning and organizing for various projects. That just, they aren't affiliated with Hololive. They're just kind of, people that work with Ame a lot. So I have been just watching her streams, her like, her most recent streams, in, the run up to her like final one, and then, watching the final one, because like I couldn't watch a lot of them live because of time zone stuff, and I had work. My work's really busy right now. And what I did was I just played a bunch of map games. I mean, not like serious map games, not like Paradox map games. I mean like the 40k 4X that's barely a 4X, it's just a war game. And Slipways, which is Slipways is great, by the way, if anyone's not aware of Slipways. Slipways is like Slipways is a very little, it's a little game. There's a Slipways classic version that you can just run straight out of itch, and then there's the PC release that is very good. It's just like a lot of like the 4X stuff kind of pared down to colonizing planet, and it's like the whole thing of Slipways is you're organizing space lanes. You are like space lanes can't cross, and like different types of colonies like need different types of resources, and those resources can be found on different types of planets, and those to get those resources you need different types of resources, and it's just like organizing space routes. It really scratches the I like trains bit of my brain. So I like Slipways a lot, but I've just been playing those while I watch streams. And the result of the other thing about Amelia Watson is like if you're in need of, she did an endurance run to like polish off the Elden Ring DLC. So if any listeners of this podcast are in need of a complete Elden Ring Let's Play, you can go to Amelia Watson. Hi, Brad.
He's not here.
He's not here. I was hoping. I was like, I have to make this joke when he's not here. Oh wow.
It's unfortunate for him that he's here the least of any of us.
Yeah, we can just be kind of merciless. It's good. The net result
we can
of this.
pronounce Z correctly.
Yeah, we can pronounce Z correctly.
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
Pretty sure that's how it's pronounced in Japan anyway.
Yeah. Mazinger Z. I remember like the day where I was like, my brain called it Mazinger Z, and then I was like, no, I should call it Mazinger Z because it's not Z. And then I like watched the OP, and I was like, oh, hang on, no, it is Z. It is Z in Japan.
Yeah.
It's just America that pronounces it wrong.
Yeah,
it's just literally they don't pronounce it correct.
It's the unfortunate thing of like, well, it's all imperialism anyway with English, but it's like the US is like the minority in terms of like countries in the world that use particular spellings pronunciations, but because of global hegemony, they had the cultural victory. Over
speaking of cultural victory, the end result of a lot of this is I've got a new taste for playing strategy games. I want to I'm probably not going to play Civ. Like I've got Alpha Centauri, one of those two on my computer, but I've also been investigating. Like I was like, what if I became a Hearts of Iron communist? What if I played Crusader Kings? What if I did either of these two?
Crusader Kings is the one I've actually played the most.
Crusader Kings seems interesting because like the thing that immediately piqued my interest over like other games when I saw someone say Crusader Kings is not really a game necessarily about painting the map your color.
Well, yeah,
because that's not really what your priorities are as like someone trying to cultivate your dynasty.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh,
it's like a
really?
Because the thing with
we're doing the okay.
Because like unlike like the thing with like the other Paradox titles is that most of them are map painting because you're like possessing
like,
the spirit of the nation.
Yeah, because like Europa Universalis is like that's Empire the video game.
Yeah, and Victoria is as well. The Victoria usually also has this calling card, like more sandbox in terms of like it's
and then
EU and Hearts of Iron I think are presumably I've heard like more like railroady.
Hearts of Iron by necessity of being a World War II game is like, well, you have to capture territory, presumably.
Yeah,
you have to do war.
But like Victoria obviously is like lots of colonization, but also there's like sandboxiness with like some of the politics and economics mechanics. I think the Imperator Rome is a bit like this too, though it has characters to a degree, but it's not like Crusader Kings where like you are playing a character that is the game. Like it's a bit more like a role playing game to some extent.
There's like as like RTS player going to like looking at these games, there's like a little bit of me that's like there's a tiny little part of my brain that's look at all this effort you have to put in, because like the thing about an RTS game is the way to simulate the difficulty of administering a large empire is literally just it's difficult to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at like a Paradox game and going, oh, you have to do maths. As people playing turn-based games have to do maths.
Paradox isn't turn-based.
Paradox is... Okay, whoa, hang on. Whoa. So I know Stellaris isn't turn-based. The other games aren't turn-based either?
No.
What?
No.
Wait. Whoa, okay. Hearts of Iron isn't turn-based?
Nope.
How does this work? Okay, I need to play these games. I need to...
You thought they were turn-based?
I kind of assumed they had to be.
But no. Like there's like at most it's like there's ticks, which I guess counts as you can consider them turns, but that's like in the way that like Diablo ticks kind of turns if it's function in real time.
Okay, never mind. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
I kind of just assumed. I guess this is just my assumption of just like looking at like Civ and then looking at like a Paradox, like a grand strategy game as like, well, this is just like Civ for grown-ups.
Yeah, I know Total War is turn-based.
Yes.
Not that I haven't played Total War yet, but and also I know that the Koei grand strategy games are also turn-based. But
yeah, I think I had just assumed that turn-based was kind of how you do grand strategy, and that Stellaris was some kind of weird exception.
To be clear, it's real-time with pauses though. So
ATB.
Because you can like just pause for a bit and be like, okay, I'm gonna pause for a bit, figure out what I want to do, and even like send some commands to like.
I love calling real time with pause ATB. I assume it pisses someone off.
My one of my action game friends does like to say, kind of. I think sometimes it's a joke, but also very sincerely, like ATB is not turn based because it's ATB. He's just like he's doing something different.
Yeah. I mean, can I sit there and consider my turn? No, I have to move quick.
Yeah.
Much like grand strategy hearts of the
But-
Paradox games.
But also,
Anyway.
you also can't, like, because of various things, you can't, like, just sit in the pause screen and do everything. You have to, like, actually press unpause at some point.
Yeah. That's you know what? This makes me doubly interested in these games because like one of the things that I love about an RTS game when it's like I love the fact that you eventually, no matter how good you are, you can't quite pay attention to everything constantly. You really have to sacrifice some of your attention span is itself a resource that you have to use, and that can be very frustrating. But you just have to lean in and appreciate it, and suddenly the genre is like opens up. It's like, oh, okay, these games make sense now. Coming next week. I will have started, I don't know, Crusader Kings or something. I'm probably not. I don't know. We'll see. I was looking at they have, okay, I'm going to say this. I mean this in a derogatory way. They have a very clever monetization scheme on those games.
Yeah.
The whole, like, we just release, like, loads and loads of DLCs, and they are all individually probably like well, maybe not all of them, but like the expansions will be like reasonably priced, but there will be way too many of them.
Yeah. And it doesn't help that like this also means that the game lasts forever. Like I remember when EU4 was coming out in like 2012, 2013. Mm-hmm. Like that game is they're only now releasing the sequel.
God, maybe I can get on get on board with 5.
It's looking really good. They're doing the thing that Victoria's main gimmick was, which is pops, which is like, oh, there's actually population representation.
Oh, okay.
Which includes like different demographics. So like you'll have minorities of like religions or cultures and territories.
Oh, you can do the Austin Walker's Stellaris story. About conquering a bunch of aliens, incorporating them into the Empire, and then finding out that they kept being annoying, and so gerrymandering them so that they were a minority vote on their own planets.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Because a lot of that stuff is a lot more like abstracted and in like EU4, which also has a lot of like the games require a resource to do things, and the way they abstracted it in EU4 is like giving like an arbitrary buildup of 3 separate points, which is like administrative points, military points, and diplomacy points, which led to things like calling it mana and calling it bird mana for diplomacy point because the bird symbol. It's like this is maybe not historical, and they're doing away with that in like the next EU5 game.
Okay, maybe I can get on board with that.
It does feel weird because it feels like fans are kind of like they feel like a lot of times the games at launch aren't as feature rich as they need to be. And they get better with time with like both patches and expansions, but that does mean that like you have to buy the expansions for it to be.
There's also presumably presumably the peak of the quality of the game. Obviously, this is subjective, but like presumably there is like a middle phase where the game is like at its best, and then they keep making more expansions. Yeah,
that was my impression with like
now it's too much.
That was my impression with like CK2. And I think with also EU4, because it feels like I feel like there's like sometimes in the later end you'll still get some good bangers, but like I haven't really kept up with EU4 at all. So like,
but presumably at some point it's like, okay, now this is no longer feature rich. This is bloat. Yes. This is like way too much.
Yes.
And there's like no way of really telling how that's going to be. So them having that subscription thing alongside being like, well, here's the starter bundle, which is like a few of like the early ones. Like this is what we'd call like this is what we would call like the complete starter.
Yeah, like if they release like a second edition, like 5 years later, this would bundle a bunch of the basic ones.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's like the ultimate bundle, which will be over £200, and I'm like, well, I'm not. Obviously, I don't even know if I like the game, so no. And then they've got this little thing where it's like, or you can subscribe for like £6 a month and get all of them. And I'm like, I see your tricks, and no.
And that's like a late, that's like a later edition too, which is fucked up.
Yeah, I will probably simply buy the base the little starter bundle for Crusader Kings 2, which includes such expansions as the Sword of Islam.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, that sounds important for a game called Crusader Kings.
There's a reason it was the second expansion, because up until that point you could only play as the Christians.
That seems weird. I
think it's partly because, like, in the first game, you only played as Christians for whatever reason. Like, I don't know, that seems weird to me. But like, then they made like,
I guess it's like about the Crusader Kings. I guess the game is fundamentally different. Really.
Yeah.
When you're not playing the Crusaders.
I think the controversial one, when it got added, was Rajas of India to CK2.
Okay.
Because they added an extension to the map because India was off the map, and then they patched in India to the map, and then released the DLC to play as India.
Okay.
Which was controversial because for people who didn't necessarily want to pay money to play as India, now you have like
this whole other section of the map.
This whole other section of the map that also is demanding on the performance of the video game. And they had to, it took a while for them to actually optimize it.
Oh, that sucks.
And obviously now in CK3 you can just like go and
customize stuff.
Well, yeah,
customize
no, it's
how
also
big the
like
map is, maybe.
India's been grandfathered in, and also like you can just play as all those different religions which were locked behind DLCs in CK2, where you can just play them in the base game now.
They're just now base, yeah.
Though they
I wonder if the thing is, if I was going to play a Crusader Kings game, I probably wouldn't play 3. I'd probably go back and play 2 because I feel like that's
two is the one that's done and complete, and like there's probably reasons to play 3 if you like 2, but also still like a game that like I think I got the impression, I still have to play it myself, but I got the impression like people were kind of like on the game until like the most recent expansion I guess came out, which like made the Byzantine Empire not a feudal government.
Okay.
And things like that. It's weird. The DLC things are also like they split the difference between DLC packs being like need to give something for like that's like global, like a global feature. Well, also the core theme of the DLC pack is like very particular to particular culture or region.
Okay.
So like the most recent expansion was like here you can have like landless adventure characters, and also it's the Byzantine Empire expansion. So. So it's a bit of a hodgepodge and mess.
Yeah. Well, I am now. You can now count me as a person who is at risk of playing Crusader Kings or Hearts of Iron. Yeah. One of those two. Probably not Europa Universalis 4.
Yeah.
I'd probably maybe 5 when it comes out.
Yeah, that's my opinion. I'm like more CK2, CK3, or EU5 maybe when it comes out, and I'm probably more interested in Victoria than EU4. So. I'd like to go back and try Imperator at some point, because I think some people really like that. It was just like, weird case of a game that like people liked it, but they kind of like it didn't do as well, so they kind of stopped supporting it really fast. But then a bunch of people were like apparently a bunch of people on YouTube were like, hey, let's try and like get a bunch of people into playing this game on this particular day on this weekend, and it got enough attraction. Like people are playing the game a bit more now, and they actually released a recent patch for it, so that's cool. But You think
cool.
It is very strange that like both times Paradox has tried to do like an antiquity game, it didn't do well.
What was the other time?
It was like a Europa Universalis Rome. So it was like they treat it as a spin-off of Europa Universalis.
Okay,
but
I see.
but the new one, Imperator Rome, was like a more of a effort to be like, this is technically like the sequel to EU Rome, but we want to make it its own IP kind of thing, not tie it to the EU brand.
Okay. Right.
Also, people like to be like, I'm gonna do the mega campaign, which goes from Imperator to CK2, etc., etc. And I'm like,
no, you won't.
Listen. Well, first of all, yeah. But second, listen. Imperator Rome's timeline ends at like the fall of the Republic, and there's a few centuries gap between that and the start of CK2.
hey, what happened in this gap? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Part of it's like, well, they just don't have a game for that, but also I'm like, maybe there should be. Maybe people should make games for like, late antiquity, early medieval era.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of me as well.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I literally did nothing but play
do you know what?
like a bad 4X, a game that's barely a 4X, and watch VTuber streams.
Yeah, I like to play those like Space Marine / the Combat Hero games, but also I should play some other arcade games.
The Relic Entertainment.
Yeah. We could play Age of Empires at some point.
No, we couldn't. My internet's dog shit.
Oh.
my internet is truly bad right now. I am in a back and forth with my landlord to convince him that it's fine to run a cable from the bottom floor to upstairs. And he's like, we could get a Wi-Fi extender, and I'm like, no, we couldn't. But I guess we'll start here with a Wi-Fi extender, which won't work.
That's how I feel like trying to tell my dad when when I'm visiting my parents' place, just being like, can I get an Ethernet to my room like my brother does? Mm-hmm. I need it for some games, and he's like, I don't see why you just when Wi-Fi isn't good enough. And I'm like, oh.
It's your dad's Nanaya Shiki.
Yes. Just like your landlord.
Yeah. I mean, I don't tell him it's for gaming. I tell him it's for work. I mean, to be fair, when I'm on a call at work, it's bad. It's bad. So like, he should get on that.
The Wi-Fi
Discord works. Hey, newsflash. Discord voice chat works better than Microsoft Teams.
Amazing. Honestly, like
someone should. I probably shouldn't say that on a podcast. Anyway,
I've been finding that like the Wi-Fi in my room has been kind of bad at times recently, and for Discord calls, I am just gonna start wiring. Because I don't need my internet to die in a mid recording.
The broadband here is already bad. He keeps saying like, "Oh, we got super fast broadband." I'm like, okay, I realize technically you have reached the threshold where you can call this super fast broadband, but it's between 6 people, so no, it's not. This needs to be higher. But like, I'm not going to say that to him because that's like a separate issue from the fact that I simply can't connect. I don't have a decent connection to the router. Listen, it worked fine when I was in the basement because I was below the router, but now the router's on the fucking ground floor. There are 2 floors above it. I'm on the top floor, and I'm like, I'm simply going to die. So I got you a Wi-Fi extender. I'm like, is it a wired connection up to the Wi-Fi extender? In which case, might as well put an access point there instead. And he's like, well, it's good. It's actually a wireless Wi-Fi extender. I'm like, why? That's not an extent. I might as well put my laptop there and turn it into like put my phone on the floor below me and like make it a hotspot and call that a Wi-Fi fucking that leech. I'm gonna kill him. I hate him. I hate him so much. Anyway, so that's a landlord chat. Sorry for going a little Mao mode there, listener. Okay. It's simply how we feel around here.
It's probably less spicy than the conversation we had off mic earlier.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Uh,
we have fun.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
have no way of like hinting that to the audience, so I guess they'll just have to think about it.
Yeah. Listen, I'm sure the audience can imagine the kind of thing we don't put in a podcast to go on the internet for the public to hear.
Just imagine a particular figure doing a T-shaped hand pose, and the jokes. That may come out of that, especially if the figure is like relevant to news headlines.
Yeah. All right. We can talk about Ultraman now.
So somehow, despite you having nothing, we're an hour into this.
We talked for a while. Listen, I was wrong about what Paradox games were in a way that make me way more excited to fall into that pit.
I think they would be, just knowing what they are, I can't imagine them being interesting at all if they were turn-based. Especially because like there's like so many little like, especially in EU4, you get like you just couldn't do the Holy Roman Empire that way. Like there'd be so many turns.
Okay. I'm stuck. Okay. The vision is starting to come to. This is beautiful. Anyway, we can talk about Ultraman.
Yeah.
We got 3 episodes to talk about today. One of which I think has more to talk about than the other 2. But I would say all 3 of these episodes are good.
Yeah.
I think let's start with episode 9.
I would say
that's our choice.
On the whole, even when like episode's still it's just alright. It's like in the good kind of alright. Like I feel like the baseline level of quality is good.
Yeah,
and like I think even like better than like the good parts of Ace. I feel like.
Yeah, I think this is a good show. I think Ultraman as an idea is something that suits TV for children.
You know what? That does help. It does help when you're like your sci-fi story. I think I had a thought. Ultraman is less evil when it's for kids, I guess. Versus like a sci-fi story for adults.
One Ultraman is less evil when it's for kids, and yeah, I think Ultraseven is the best of like sci-fi for adults we've got. Yeah. I think maybe the idea of having a superhero who fights the bad guy is maybe more appropriate for a TV show for children. Anyway, let's start with episode 9. I say as though we have a choice. We have to do it. I don't think we're ever going to do them out of order. Episode 9, The Day Tokyo Crumbles, featuring giant winged ant kaiju Arindo. A pair of night guards... I've already fucked up. A pair of night guards working in a skyscraper hear a weird sound in the walls, and the next day, the building collapses. This is not the first case of a skyscraper mysteriously collapsing. The architect, Hirata Shuichi, is distraught. He's certain the building should have been safe, but he's standing in its ruins. Zat interrogate him about this, and his son Toshio drags him away. Kyotaro tells the story at dinner later, and Kenichi's like, "Oh, hey, Toshio is in my class. I don't think his dad would cut corners. He's an honest guy." But Kyotaro doesn't quite see it. So Kenichi heads over to Toshio's place, and after a brief bit of conflict over the fact Kenichi lives with a Zat member, they agree to find the real culprit together. Investigating the ruins, the two find some oversized, red-eyed ants. There has been so little effort put into these ants, it's really funny.
They're just like... They're not even puppets, they're just like objects.
Yeah, there is no locomotion there's no locomotive element to these ants whatsoever. When they walk across the ground, they are on a string being dragged. It's so silly. I'm a fan. The two guess these ants must be responsible, so they each capture an ant and take it home. Toshio wants to show that he caught the culprit, but he fails to get his dad out of his hysterical stupor. So he sticks the steel beam-eating ant into a glass jar and is like, "Yep, that'll hold it," and leaves the jar right by his head and goes to sleep like a fucking genius.
Yeah.
So the ant has a flame spray and melts its way out of the jar. Both kids meet again the next day with a jar with a giant hole in it and decide to find the colony. They've got to find a tall building, like the nearest one to the last collapsed building. They watch the opening ceremony for the brand new Akebona building, and they hear the ants in the wall. The kids try to warn everybody about the ants, but no one wants to believe the tall tales of small children. Luckily, Zat do. They're
For
willing
once.
to evacuate the building. Yeah.
Compared to
This
like
is-
previous teams.
Yeah. This is not TAC. TAC were like gaslighting people every week.
Something to be said for like how competent Zat seems in comparison to Matt and Tack, while also having the most
Despite how dumb they are.
and how ridiculous the technology is.
Yeah.
Like the fucking flamethrower they have in this episode.
It's very it's a flamethrower, hot water spraying, pesticide shooting gun.
That looks like a Kinder Prize toy.
Yes, it's fantastic. Zat are willing to evacuate the building on the word of Kenichi and Toshio, saving many lives as the swarm of ants tear through the building and then fly off into the sky to find more buildings to eat. Zat identifies the next building and spray the place with pesticide, and then send a couple of the team in to find the colony and pump it full of gas and hot water, and then, if worst comes to worst, to just burn the whole fucking thing. This is where they pull out the ridiculous device. None of this works, and they devise a new plan. They will simulate an ant's use of formic acid as a warning system. They spray formic acid from the condor to lure out the ants, and they fly out of the building and group up to form a kaiju. The fight is on. Zat aren't effective, and Kyotaro fights the kaiju up to a building where he falls off and turns into Taro. The kaiju resists the Strium beam. Crazy. Probably because it's a swarm of ants and not an individual kaiju. More kaiju should do this. It makes you immune to the Jesus beam. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Taro does a bit. He cheats. He learns a new move. He does a big charged up full body flame attack and wins. Good job, everyone. Kyotaro reappears to Kenichi, Saori, and Toshio, and then gets back to the boys. Everyone's safe. Toshio's dad is exonerated, and they all have a good laugh. The end.
Yeah,
How do you feel about this episode?
it's fun.
Yeah. This episode has energy.
Yeah.
I remember the scene where the boys meet back up again when they've got the hole in the jar.
Yeah.
They've both got the same jar with the same hole in it, and like no words exchanged, and they just go, "We have to find the colony."
Yeah.
I was like, this episode's got it.
These are competent kids.
These kids are the best kids in Ultra. They just know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I can't call them the best kids in Ultraman. The best kid in Ultraman will continue to be Jiro, just for the misogyny. He will take he's the blueprint. It will take a real good kid to supplant Jiro in my brain as the other kid from Ultraman. But Kenichi and Toshio are competent. They've got it sorted.
I like how we just don't remember the kid from actual Ultraman.
What was his name? He got replaced for the episode where he was actually going to be important.
Yeah, because he went skiing.
Yeah, because he went skiing. Much like the sixth Ultra brother, he went skiing and had an accident and couldn't come back. Can't remember his name. Rip. Oh well.
Not important.
Not important. These kids are pretty good. I like the little the bit of drama between them over the fact that he's like Toshio's dad is like completely innocent, but like Zat suspect him, and you know he's like, I can't. Kenichi, get out of here. Like I know you live with like a member of Zat. I can't.
Yeah.
How dare you? And there's the brotherhood, the camaraderie between the two. And he's like, we'll find the culprit together. I mean it. I really mean it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's strong stuff.
It is fun to just have a bunch of ants turn into one big ant.
Yes. I'm. It's very funny that they know that trick.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll turn into an ant. It's good. I remember making the note that the kaiju resists the stream beam, and I was like, wow, that's wild. I didn't think that was going to happen. And then later, as I was writing the summary, realizing, oh, because it only killed like some of the ants.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Good, good design.
Yeah.
On this ant swarm idea.
One thing I want to say about this episode, that does not carry over into the next episode. I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, the green screen in this episode specifically is really good.
Oh, in the next episode it is not.
But just like, I'm watching the green screen and like, it's obvious when it is green screen, but in the way that like, when you're watching Seinfeld, it's obvious there's a green screen in the driving scene, but like not in the way that just takes you out of it, in the way that most of the green screen that we've had so far has been.
Mm-hmm.
And just like to him, they got it in this one episode, and apparently not the next.
No, the next one it's extremely obvious.
But yeah, I was like, damn, they did a good one of those. That's pretty good.
The next episode is the green screen is whatever. It's rescued by the coolest kick in Ultraman.
Kotaro likes to hang on to kaiju a lot. He
does. He's doing Shadow the Colossus stuff. He watched Ultra Q. He remembers the Tarzan guy. He's doing his bit. I think this episode, I quite like this episode. I quite like, there's the element in this episode, again, this is a show for children. It's the whole angle is like, people don't want to believe kids. Adults are like weirdly hostile to children, and we'll just think you're idiots, you're lying, you're making shit up, when you're not. There's a real thing.
Before the building starts collapsing, the guy calls out Zat for actually believing the children.
Yeah, it's like, didn't make it into my summary, but like he comes out, it's like, why are we evacuating? And then sees the kids and he's like, oh, come on, are you fucking joking? Oh, the kids think there are ants in the wall chewing the building to pieces. Get a grip. And then it falls apart. It's like immediately. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to say another word for the rest of the episode. I'm just going to walk off screen. I'm done. Goodbye.
You took the L.
We're finished here. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to take the L. That's how it goes in life.
Yeah.
Do we know who made this episode?
Yeah. Director Sei Okamura. Writer Toshio Ishido, special effects director Masataka Yamamoto, and Arando designed by Yoshi Suzuki. Presumably any bios will be covered by Brad, because I don't know if we've... Mm-hmm. I forget if Sei Okamura was a guy we've met before, but if not, Brad will get us covered.
Let me look up Arando, because I want to get another look at this ant. This kaiju, I'm not necessarily super high on a lot of the kaiju designs in Taro so far. They're like, some of them I think are pretty good. I think we are, maybe I'm going a little bit, I'm getting a little bit Toru moded, because I'm like some of these are just animals that are big. Like this is a big flying ant. I feel I can get the sense that like a lot of them, like in Ace and Taro, we haven't got as many like mascot coded guys yet. Mm-hmm. True. But yeah, I do overall think this is a good episode. Yeah. Do we have anything else to talk about in this episode? Did I have anything else to say? The actual building explosions, I think are alright. I think they're pretty good. I think we've seen better from Ultraman. But it's which is weird considering this is an episode that is like dedicated to we're gonna like collapse some buildings. Which is a shame, but you know. Do we have anything else to say, or should we move on to episode 10?
I think we're good. I got it.
We're good. Okay. Episode 10 is called The Tusk Cross is the Kaiju's Grave, featuring Walrus Kaiju Deparis, or Deparis.
Yeah.
Brad's not here. Can't celebrate the return of walruses. Rip.
So tragic.
Yeah. Can't celebrate the return of boxing either.
Yeah.
Kyotaro is training for an upcoming boxing match and, of course, starving himself to lose weight. Saori wishes Kyotaro would give the whole thing up. She doesn't like the violence and she doesn't like seeing Kyotaro go hungry. While out training, Kyotaro meets his opponent.
Needs to be said that he, like, Saori and Kenichi are, like, having actual breakfast at Kotaro's insistence while he just eats a single slice of bread.
Yeah.
He's
He's just like,
so tasty.
It's fine.
It's
fine.
They're both looking at him like, come
on. Okay, wait, hang on. What's his? Hang on. Let me. Hang on. Why do I keep calling him Kyotaro? Why have I called him Kyotaro this whole time?
Yeah, that's what I've been wondering. I didn't want to say anything, but...
Why did I type Kyotaro for this whole summary? Okay, let me quickly find replace Kyotaro with Kotaro.
Yeah.
And that will be replace all. Yep, there we go. Whew. There's a good thing before we got through all 3 episodes.
Yep.
That I noticed that. Don't know why I did that. Oh well. Kotaro is training for an upcoming boxing match. Oh, you go
I was
for
just
it.
to say he changed his name for last episode only.
Yeah, last episode only. Kotaro is training for an upcoming boxing match and, of course, starving himself to lose weight. Saori wishes Kotaro would give the whole thing up. She doesn't like the violence, and she doesn't like to see Kotaro go hungry. While out training, Kotaro meets his opponent, and they clash verbally. No friendly rivalry here. These guys don't like each other.
He's just an asshole.
He's just an asshole for no reason. It's weird. A kaiju appears and attacks. Kotaro is having a rough time, constantly drifting away and daydreaming about food. So he's almost useless in the fight. That is, until he notices the kaiju get violent when it sees its own reflection in some windows. He calls for an operation to use mirrors to lure the kaiju into a pit where they can safely obliterate it. This plan honestly works like a charm. The various jets all dangle large mirrors and lure the kaiju to the pit. It falls in and zap obliterates it. Job done, just as planned.
Funniest shot is just the kaiju flopping to the ground.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Now Kotaro can go back to worrying about his boxing match. Also, God, he's so hungry. The day of the match arrives, and the Zat boys, Kenichi, and even Saori are there to cheer on Kotaro. The lieutenant gets a call partway through the match, and it turns out the kaiju has reformed and reappeared to wreck Tokyo again.
Yeah, there's a shot of it like reforming in a really gruesome way, and it's like fucked up.
Yeah, I don't... if it's like now or like a little later in the episode, but at some point it attacks the base and impales it, and yeah, it's good. The Zat boys head out and leave Kyotaro to his fight. Between rounds, I said Kyotaro. Leave Kotaro to his fight. Between rounds, Kotaro learns Zat left to deal with the kaiju. When the match gets going again, he gets in close to his opponent to tell him, so there's a kaiju. I want to deal with it. We want to postpone this fight? And his opponent says, fuck you, I don't care about a kaiju. And Kotaro is like, excuse me? You don't care about kaiju? And then immediately hits him with a KO. He runs off to change and tries to eat pebbles from a fire bucket. When he gets so hungry, he collapses.
He's putting on his uniform while they're counting down. Like, that's how fast he's like locked in.
Yeah, he's just out immediately. I got a job to do. While Zat fights, Kotaro gets a talking to from Saori. She presents him with a huge feast that she just had on her for after the fight. He goes Goku mode and eats everything immediately and then heads off to fight the kaiju, completely rejuvenated. The mirrors don't seem to work this time, and Kotaro turns into Taro. It's a rough fight, and it opens with a kick that fucking rules. Taro is coming into frame from the top of the screen, kicking the kaiju. It's so good. And then he rolls 2 or 3 times after hitting the ground. I'm a big fan of this. As the fight goes on, Taro gets impaled by a tusk, tears the tusk out, impales the kaiju with it, and then stream beams it to death. He then uses the 2 tusks to form a cross for the dead kaiju, just like in the title. Kotaro goes back to training and dieting, and Saori cycles along with him while he jogs, saying she now likes boxing. She thinks it's the manliest sport. The end. Gender, everyone. Don't forget,
Gender.
Ultraman is a gender show.
Yeah.
It's once again, we have got that special Ultraman source of sometimes like a writer one week will write about something, and then a writer the next week will write about something adjacent that is kind of in opposition. Because this episode has gender of like boxing is manly. It's a manly sport, and next week's episode is it sucks to be a woman.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's like the stuff in here about it's funny how when is Tomorrow's Joe?
I mean, I think this is like we talked about it in Return to Ultraman. It's like around there's like the Showa boxing boom, right?
Right, yeah, because this is all part of it. It's like 1968 to 1973. What year is this show again? 73. It's a little bit funny to do like it's like he's starving himself for boxing, but like it's not like it ends on the note of like, oh yeah, this is a really manly sport.
Yeah.
It's a little bit funny. I'm like, this is a little strange. You're a little bit mixed up about this, but okay.
Couple of things. Didn't come up in the summary, but it's funny. Like, the kaiju shows up when they're in the bathhouse, and like they discover the kaiju because it punches a hole in the bath.
Right. Yes. And there's like fish coming out of the bath. He's like, I like dipped my toe in and I fell in and it just didn't have a bottom. Yeah. It just goes to the ocean now.
And the cop is like, whose fish is this?
Yeah, whose fish? Whose fish was this?
We have like in the fight, Kotaro almost crashes into the kaiju because he sees a roast chicken.
Yes. Yeah, he sees it as roast chicken. He's like, "Oh, I'm so hungry."
And
I think maybe boxing sucks. I don't know about you, Ultraman, but I think maybe.
I like when Saori puts out the platter of food, and he sees it. It's like, "Oh, gravel again."
Yeah, he's doubting his eyes. He's like, "No, I won't be tricked again." He literally works on Goku rules. He's like, I don't have any strength left, and then he just eats like loads of food, like way too much food, and is like, "Thank you. I'm now gonna go save the day."
When I was watching him eating, I was reminded of one of my favorite moments from Agito, which I'm sharing in the chat, without context, because it's really good.
Okay, action music to eat food.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. I forget the context this episode happens in, but it's just one of the best moments in the show.
She's just, that gentle smile she gives him. This is the singing! The vocals just came in!
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Agito's so good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. This is. I see why you were reminded of this.
Yeah.
Let me find the script.
And then
I presume
Kotaro shows up to fight. Like, listen, I'm trying to eat in peace, and turns into Saru to kick his ass.
Yeah, I'm sure I have. Let me see this. Pictures. green. No, I don't have it. Never mind. I do not have the picture. But the moment the kick is like, I had to rewind to rewatch it because it's like he does his usual flips that Taro does. Taro does like a sequence of like flips.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then
Taro's flips.
Yeah, and then he does his kick, which normally they come from like it's like a diagonal. It's like a rider kick, like it's normal stuff. This one is like coming in like from the sky, and then he just does like he's like tumbles and tumbles until he like stops himself before he hits a building. It's great. I liked this fight a lot, to be honest. I thought to be honest. The fight in this episode may be the best bit. I think the rest of it is like funny, but it's like it's not necessarily like rich in substance.
Yeah,
it's
I mean, it's the kids show, so we're not gonna get every episode's gonna be like a pick through it like a
true. But it's funny. We get like Kotaro is like he wants to be a boxer, and it's like, okay, now we're gonna get some sick episodes, and it's like we get a boxing episode, and it's like, oh, he's gonna fight his rival, he's gonna fight this guy, and it's like this guy is just an asshole.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's the fight is just he's gonna fight an asshole.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
I do want to say this episode got me thinking, like, I feel like Taro is delivering a bit on some of the promise of Return of Ultraman that it didn't end up fully delivering on. It was a bit compromised.
With the family stuff?
Well, with the family stuff, because you have, like, the Shiratori's being more of a presence consistently. Like, that really wasn't the case until, like, Aki died and they replaced her with Rumiko.
Yeah, in Return of Ultraman, there were, like, weird... There was that weird stretch where she just kind of vanished from the show it was like as well.
Like, she vanished from the show... So she just wasn't in it, and then they replaced her, and because they replaced her, they were able to actually do the stuff they wanted to do with her in the last stretch with a different character.
But
also, like, Kotaro's boxing stuff is just in the show more than, like, any of the race car stuff with Go.
Yeah, Go never races the car.
Like, they said, at most they spend, like, a scene with, like, Ken and Go, like, working on the car, but, like, he never drives.
He never drives.
And here we see like Kotaro like both training and actually doing boxing, and it's good. I like that we're actually getting that a bit.
Definitely the most we got out of the race, the race stuff in the race car stuff in Return of Ultraman was that scene where Ken kind of hinted at why he's got his bad leg. Yeah. I think that's the best we got out of it. But yeah, when you mentioned, I can't remember when it was, when you mentioned it was weird that we never got like any payoff on the race car. I was like, oh yeah, hang on, what the fuck?
Yeah. And like, I don't know how much of that's just because Ken died.
Yeah, like Rumiko doesn't care.
Yeah. Like
Jiro could have started to care about it way too much.
If Ken was still in the show by the end, would they have put like the race car in or not? Or was it just like,
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
I think the angle on this you could take is Jiro starts caring about it to a degree that's not good for him. He's like, go you never work on the car anymore.
What they should have done, final episode, Go just leaves unceremoniously. And they were like, man, we didn't even do anything with this car, and they set it on fire again.
Oh yeah, second funeral. Rumiko's like, why are we setting this car on fire? Don't worry, this was something I did with the last woman. It's okay. Who made this episode?
Just had the funny thought of like Venom Go coming back and being like, "Oh, where's the car?" And then Jiro's like, "The real Go wouldn't care about the car because he stopped caring."
Yeah, the real Go wouldn't ask about the car. Yeah, that's good.
Anyway.
Yeah, who made this
director,
episode?
Eizu Yamakiwa. Writer, Kiyohide Ohara. I don't know if I don't know if there's a new guy or not. I don't recognize the name. Special effects director, Takashi Ohira. I think this guy is new, but also I tried looking him up and I couldn't find anything on him, so rip.
Director is of course the Cult Man.
Yep, we well trod ground. Deparos was designed by Yoshi Suzuki, and apparently it's one of Saburo Shinada, aka Kotaro's actors' favorite kaiju, or at least one of the ones he remembers most from the show, most memorable to him. That's fun.
Okay. It's the tusks are like the tusk cross is good. I quite like that. It's like ridiculous. Like one of them is impaled in the ground, and then Taro just like has one and just like throws it, whoosh, and it just sticks.
We didn't talk about how well, first of all, when Taro does get impaled, it's pretty raw. But
yeah, it's sick.
Oh, we didn't talk about how the walrus attacks the ketchup factory and eats ketchup.
The walrus attacks the walrus is also hungry. The walrus is Kotaro and the walrus are like, destined rivals. They're so similar.
Like Jun and Pegula.
Like Jun and Pegula. We're not so different, you and I.
Yeah.
The walrus is hungry for ketchup. It's funny because it's just like in like the next time. I'm pretty sure that ketchup comes up in like the next time preview for this episode, and I was like, and I'm thinking like, well, damn, this episode's bloody. No, it's not. It's just ketchup.
Yeah. And the kaiju still has ketchup on it when it's revived.
Oh, it's so stupid.
Yeah. Also unrelated, Jackson tweeted this screenshot of Frieza going 5 more minutes, saying start the clock, and I'm like, me, the color timer person. Oh, that's what I'll do when I watch Dragon Ball.
Yeah, the colors is like, you have 3 minutes.
I have to keep them honest. When it's like 2 episodes later.
Yeah.
It says 7 minutes was actually 40.
It sometimes happens. Yeah. It sometimes happens. Do we have anything more to say about this episode?
No, I think it was good. I'm glad they they're weaving in the boxing stuff more than
Yeah, I'm like a little more low on this episode. I think. Yeah. I think this is the one of the bunch that I think is kind of.
I mean, it's like it is probably the weakest one, but it's still good.
I think the arc on Saori is very silly. She's like, oh, I'm a girl. I don't like boxing. Yeah. I don't like violence. And then she sees Kotaro, her hero, and it's I actually think boxing's really manly.
It is
Kotaro.
It is the overcorrection for Ace a bit.
Yeah. Yes. We will be addressing the idea of women next episode. As we have episode 11. The Vampire Flower is a girl's spirit, featuring Ivy Kaiju Vasara.
Yeah.
Now, there's some stuff in this episode that this summary is going to skim over. It's not going to mention. But it is important.
Yeah.
So if you encounter something and you think, hang on, there's some important stuff about women happening here. I figured I'd leave that for the actual discussion. 2 cops investigate a graveyard and get got by some mysterious off-screen force. They had been paralyzed in some manner, and when they were found, their bodies were drained of all blood. This is not the first case of the so-called vampire killer. The next day, Zat agrees to help the police, who are stumped by these murders, and Kotaro gets tricked into being on the scene with word of a non-existent kaiju. The boys don't find anything of note except a grave marked Forsaken Children, with some red flowers growing around it. Kotaro does stop a little girl named Kanai from getting into an accident on the road, however, and has a difficult time trying to find her home. Moriyama recognizes her as a girl from an orphanage. She had been abandoned by her mother and was recently adopted by a rich family. Kotaro takes Kanai to this family, and the mother thanks him for his efforts, but he's clearly uncomfortable with the state of the family he has left Kanai with. He's back at base when Kotaro expresses his dissatisfaction with the mother, and, the state of her parenting, an argument threatens to break out as Ueno says, women only think about themselves, and there are a bunch of women in the room who are like, what the fuck did you just say? Moriyama and Kenichi talk about whether Kanai's biological mother is to blame for Kanai's circumstances, and Moriyama says the mother may well have been in an awful situation and felt it was necessary. Kenichi's like, I'm something of an abandoned child myself, and so he's less sympathetic, feeling his own resentment for his absent father, which, it's not quite the same, but, that night, the two are attacked by strange vines that invade the house. They are saved by some drunk men who walk by and cut the vines barring the path.
It is really funny that just, some random drunk guy steal them.
Yeah, they're just walking by and say, what the fuck are these vines? Cut them immediately. Zat investigates and Kotaro realizes these flowers are the same that Kanai is always carrying, along with her little clippers that she's always snipping as she walks. He tries to track down Kanai, but his first call to the wealthy mother gets ignored, and the second is too late, as the vines have attacked and drained her of all her blood via a tube inserted into the ear. Kanai watches this from a window without a word. Kotaro finds Kanai handing out the flowers and stops her, realizing she might be aware this is killing people. She won't tell him where she gets the flowers, but Kidajima remembers. They were on that grave. A grave dedicated to abandoned
Needs to be
children.
said that, Kotaro thinks something's wrong happening to the mom, drives to go figure that out, stops when he sees Kanai on the way, stomps on some flowers and yells at this child. Then Kidajima comes and says, hey, I found the thing, and he leaves the child on the side of the road.
Kotaro abandons two responsibilities to go deal with the flowers immediately. You know what? Until you've just mentioned it just now, I hadn't realized he doesn't necessarily immediately know that the mother is dead.
Yeah.
The boys go to pull up the vines by the root, but it turns out to be a kaiju's hair. It's very funny. The narrator just pops in to be like, the vines are a kaiju's hair, by the way. And the kaiju appears, and Zat deploys to fight. Kotaro turns into Taro, defeats the kaiju. There is a wailing and weird, ghostly, trippy shit, as though the vengeful spirits of the grave are being exorcised. Jewels are a kaiju's meal. Yep. Yes, true.
Anyway, sorry for interrupting. I was had a delayed thought.
No, that's fine.
Continue, or maybe backtrack a bit.
There is a wailing and weird, ghostly, trippy shit as though the vengeful spirits of the grave are being exorcised. Later, Kanai returns to the orphanage, and Kotaro relates the story to Saori, and they wonder where she got her love of flowers. Kotaro speculates the feeling she feels strongest is not love, but actually hate. Hate for the mother who abandoned her. No. Hate for the society that forced her mother to abandon her.
Hate for the society we live in.
Yeah. God, we live in a society.
Yeah. Joker 2.
We see Kanai. Joker 2 now in theaters. I don't think it's about. I don't think Joker 2 is about how much it sucks to be a woman. I don't think. We see Kanai walking through a graveyard, snipping her garden clippers with each step. The end. Now you have. Listener, if you have not watched the episode and you're like, you keep talking about how this episode is about how much it sucks to be a woman, it feels like that didn't come up. Let's tell you about the bits where that came up. Because there's some stuff happening in the background.
I didn't take big notes on this, so I assume maybe you have more to help me.
Yeah, I've got the little list, I could just reel off a quick list here because in an earlier version of the summary I just went through it and I was like, this is just I'm just describing the episode from beginning to end. I have to cut this out. But basically it's through this episode there's some stuff happening in the background. When Kotaro goes to find Kanai's like, oh, I live over there. And she does not live there. Kotaro meets a mother who's in a room with 6 children, and she's got one on her back, and she's like, no, she's not my kid. Why the hell? I would happily palm off one of my own. I don't want another kid. Kotaro and Kenichi, back at home, Kotaro and Kenichi are failing to eat properly and keep the house straight because Saori is away on a trip. And she's the one that does all that.
And then they call Morikawa to help out, and she's taking the house.
And then she visits and immediately starts up on the dishes and promises to cook she's like, don't eat that, I'm gonna cook a proper meal for you. And then there's the added dynamic in this episode is the servant of the rich mother, who is a woman, being expected to look after Kanai on top of her other duties, while the wealthy mother is like the woman in this episode who lives a free life. So like adding like an element of like class to this. It's not just that she lives a free life, it's that she lives a free life at the expense of other women.
Yeah.
And it's only like after some of this that like we go to Ueno being like, women.
Yeah.
It's and then we get like Moriyama and Kenichi's talk about her perspective is like sympathetic to the mother, because she's an adult woman, and Kenichi's like, well, I'm a child and my dad is never here, so fuck that
he's
mother.
like literally only in episode 1.
Yeah, I was like, where's my dad? My dad should... The added thing here, the other thing here, there's like a touch of this is like, I don't, maybe this is less intentional, but like, there's also the thing of like, his dad being here would not necessarily change how absent he is because of how much of the work in the house is like Saori, right? Yeah. Like it would still be her that does everything. She would still be doing the mother's job. I think that's an interesting bit to think about. I think as like we've had some of my favorite episodes of Ultraman have been like the ones where like some writer wakes up one morning and is like, I'm a feminist today.
You mean like
not tomorrow,
like the episode?
but just for today. Like the episode the Return of Ultraman episode where I can't remember her name, where she becomes a kaiju, just through like anger at her mistreatment by the rest of the crew, the rest of the team.
I'm looking for her name again. Oka.
Yuriko
that's
Oka.
It.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh right.
Yeah.
they gotta stop. Right. They need more names. They have to stop pulling from this little pool of names that they have.
2 seasons in a row.
We had Minami 2 seasons in a row. We've got an Ueno this season. We've had like the 6th Ultra Brother and the 3rd Ultra Brother are both called Dan, but also the 6th one called Dan, we've scrubbed him from history. It's too much. It's too much. We need new names. But yeah, I think as like kids show version of talking about, there's like, obviously when you are making a show for children about how you should be a little sympathetic towards your mum, and the difficulties she has, there is obviously a risk of like parent propaganda. Yeah. So sometimes parents do suck. Sometimes kids. Sometimes you are right and your parents suck. That does happen. But I think the specific angle in this episode of like the amount of work that a woman has to do to like look after a child, and like the treatment that they get for it, and like the lack of respect that they are given for that is really like cruel and liable to create like really difficult situations like this one. And this is just an episode with a sad ending, which I appreciate. It's like I think it's good.
The vibe I got was like she's looking for flowers in the graveyard, which no longer has flowers.
And there's also just this suggestion of like she doesn't have the ability to like do this again, but she has the will. She has the will. Like she watched that woman die, and she was like, yeah, sure, she sucks.
Yeah.
There's this vindictive little child as like product of like the the cruelty towards women, I think is good.
Yeah.
I also think that the vine attacks are fucking sick.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, the nighttime one is especially good, like bursting through paper doors.
Yeah,
right?
like desperately trying to keep it at bay with like the blankets.
Yeah,
and just like good like shot and lighting stuff to like add to the stress.
Yeah, and when it gets cut, and like the vines fall limp, and they just like it's like bleed out from the flower, from the blooming flower. That hits. I think that's good. I
don't know if it's anything, but I'm just thinking about like where like Kotaro calls about the flower and gets hung up on, and then like the mom sees Kanai going with the flower, and she's like, "Throw this out the flower. I'll get you some better flowers later." Something.
Yeah. It's like her style of parenting is just a child would be nice. We should have a child around here.
Yeah, and like her like the aesthetics that come like with her classism.
Yes. The whole like her like doing like fitness stuff and
like specifically Kanai needs nice flowers, not these ugly flowers.
Oh yeah. I really think that the mother bit works well because of the addition of the servant. I think it comes off a little bit weirder if it's just that this wealthy woman wasn't really looking after her kid. I think the moment she turns to her servant is like, you were supposed to keep an eye on her, and I think it really.
I think it's interesting that the dad is just not there.
Pulls it together. Yes, Dad completely not here. It's a whole different type of absence. It's
like in each.
It's like it's more absent than inattentive. In that way that like there's the in Dunbine the way that Sho's mum and dad are depicted, I think is like perfect in terms of like, because like the mum is depicted as like as like the one that Sho like resents the most. And like there's this kind of awareness in the show that he can resent her more because she was more involved in raising him than his dad was. Like his absence is one that is kind of guilt-free, right? It's like I don't, I was as bad a parent, if not worse. It's just that I wasn't there to fuck things up. And I think that plausible like awareness isn't. Plausible deniability. I think that plausible deniability is present in this episode when, as you say, the dad is just not here at all.
And it's because he has to go get bread for the family. He's away for the family, which makes it okay.
Yes, exactly. It's good.
More comedic. But I'm reminded of the Gamora episode where the dad's like, "Wait, he's in school now?"
Oh yeah, I forgot. God, dads suck. Dads fucking suck.
Have we had a good dad in Ultraman yet? Ooh, not in Blazer, definitely.
Not Blazer.
He is the absent dad.
He's the king of as the father of Ultra saved his kids. The father of Ultra is Santa. That's a pretty good dad.
I wonder how like Mother of Ultra feels about Father Ultra hanging out with Minami.
Where the hell did you pick up this young woman? What the fuck is going on?
We have a child.
Wait. Yeah, this is technically like a close to like. I don't know. I can't remember what like that explanation of what Ace's relation is to the father and mother of Ultra.
Gotta be honest, I don't remember that entire blurb. I was like, this isn't real until it's in the show. So I'm not gonna bother listening.
True. I don't. Let's pretend I have no knowledge, and I can simply assume that the father of Ultra and mother of Ultra are the father and mother of all the Ultras. How related is she to the father of Ultra? As being like X part of Ace. Because Ace is Ace is different.
Even when they were the hosts of Ace, they were like separate in a way that like Kotaro and Go are not as separate from.
Right, yeah, they're like fully merged. She's
but also the fact that she was a host does make things weird.
It does. We're doing. We're doing anime like how okay is it for these step siblings to get together logic? We're like, is this one okay? I can't tell.
And I'm ready for Tsuburaya to eventually like drop the lore that like contradicts all of this.
Oh, absolutely. Was
there something else?
What else is going on in this episode? Let me see. There is like a brief. This is like,
oh yeah, father of the last episode of Ultra Q also sucks.
The father of the oh yeah, he sucks and is also I'm like. He sucks and I love him. I love that he like is like no. I will not abandon the real world. And then he gets another taste of the real world, and he's like, oh, fuck, I should have abandoned the real world. Yeah. I hate my wife so much. Oh my god. It's so good. Isekai me immediately. I take it back. I do not actually like my family.
Give me the numbers of how many people actually watch Ultra Q that listen to our show.
If you don't get what we're talking about with that, you've committed a sin. We believe in sins here. This is a Catholic podcast.
Yeah.
And you will be going to hell. Yeah. Unless you pay us money into the coffee.
Yeah, that's why we're covering Name of the Rose eventually, because it's all closet.
Yeah. One of us will adopt the Franciscan position, and one of us will adopt the Dominican position. We haven't settled on who is doing that. We'll flip a coin when we get to it. Anyway. Yeah, what was there was something. I feel like there was something else about this episode.
I don't know why, but part of it was like, is the episode going to end with like the maid raising Kanai as her child, like adopting her? And I feel like that is not the correct choice, which is probably good that the episode didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. I like the. Yeah, I definitely like the ending of this episode.
I'm pretty sure the last scene we see of the maid is just like sweeping and walking by as the vines are about to kill them off.
Good for her. Here's the thing. I hope she noticed and was like, above my pay grade. That's not my job. I'm not dealing with deadly blood-sucking vines. I'm good. Yeah. There's like a little bit of gender happening in the as we talk about this show being the barely disguised fetish Ultraman. There's a little bit of that happening. I think in the moment that the mother dies, the mother gets killed, as it's like vine tentacle binding, right?
Oh yeah.
There's like a little bit of that happening in that kill, but it's horror stuff, classics. Yeah. I think that might be it for the episode. Who made it?
So remember how you said I'm a feminist for this week and only this week?
Yeah.
The director is Eizo Yamagiwa, the writer is Kiyohide Ohara, and special effects director is Takashi Ohara. So it's the exact same people as the last episode.
That's really funny. That's really funny.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. Okay, you know what? There has to be a hint of irony then to like the last bit of last week's episode. Just like a little bit.
Did we talk about the
in,
rowboat racing scene in last episode?
We did not talk about the most important scene from these 3 episodes. Holy shit. The most important scene... the most important scene from these 3 episodes. You're absolutely correct. You know what? My summary of this second episode of episode 10 this week is fucking shit. What was I doing? There's a point where the lieutenant is like, oh, the kaiju is reappearing.
No. This is after Kotaro leaves the bathhouse and he goes to HQ, and he's like the only one on the clock because everyone else.
They're like, oh, where are they? And then we cut to all 3 of them in rowboats ready to race each other. It's like, the winner will get to eat the lunches prepared by the girls.
Yeah, Moriyama and like 2 other coworkers who are not named are also there.
Yeah.
And like they rowboat to this rock, but the rock is the kaiju, and like everyone but Nanbara notices, and he just keeps going. And with the green screen is terrible.
It's good. It's great. It's terrible good.
I made a point of noticing that Kirijima looks really dorky in his polo shirt.
I love Kirijima. He's the standout guy for me right now. I wish I was fishing. He got into a boat and he didn't pull out his fishing rod. I'm impressed at his strength.
He has other priorities at the moment. Like, he's just, gotta get that lunch.
Gotta get that lunch. And not the fish variety. Alright. Do we have anything more to say about episode 11, The Vampire Flower is a Girl's Spirit?
Just the kaiju. Yoshio Suzuki. Real quick turnaround, because this is repurposed from Arando from 2 episodes ago.
Oh, shit.
Though originally it was supposed to be repurposed from Tagaro. As you can see from this image from the octopus designed.
This is much more fitting. With the whole like vine tentacles
it's a
thing.
little weird. They went with like repurposing the ant into like a.
Yeah, a bit. Like the kaiju is not what sticks from this episode. What sticks is the vines. Yeah. The vines are fantastic.
It's one of those cases where it's like. This is be a perfectly good Ultra Q episode, but because it's an Ultraman show, they do have to have like a mandatory. Fight.
They have to have a big fight. Yeah. Sometimes it's perfect, like in the episode where surprise, the boxing episode has a good fight. The episode concerned with one-on-one combat is like this fight will be good. This fight will hit.
I liked in that episode. Just remembered it just now. Like Kotaro, like he hears the kaiju that's left because the kaiju from his coach. His coach like, don't worry about it. But then he looks at like his rival and he gets like the flashing shots of like the kaiju in his rival's face. Also, for this episode, the shot of just like the kaiju seemingly reviving and like blowing up a temple before like exploding is it's cool.
Yes,
I think I read in like the summary they would like for whatever reason the special effects director was like, this would be cool, so I'll do it.
Okay, well that will explain why I was like, I don't really know that that's necessarily significant to your specific deal, but okay, it was pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, I liked the death on this kaiju. I thought is the vengeful spirit of children. It's good. I also think there's number of times I've been like, do we have anything left to say about this episode? And I do. The opening scene of this episode is fantastic. The police officers like investigating the weird things and then like shooting off screen, and then it's a very simple effect, but it's just the like series of lights that have been set up that just like individually flash like one after the other really bright.
Yeah.
I think is
also
great.
forgot
Just in the trees in the background.
I really like Moriyama waking up Kotaro, being like, "Hey, there's been a murder," and he's like, "Murder? I don't need to come."
We don't deal with murder.
And he's like, "No, it's a kaiju." He's like locked in him and like, "Okay, I'm going away." And he rocks
Guess
up.
there. Where's the kaiju?
Yeah,
We lied.
Yeah, and he rocks up in his civvies, and everyone's like, "Oh, listen, we lied because we knew you wouldn't come if there wasn't a kaiju." But the police don't want us here.
And the moment he finds out there's no kaiju, he's like, "All right, I'm going back to bed." And they're like, "No. We have to help the police sometimes."
It is fun that though he is like not in his uniform for this first half of the episode though.
Yeah. Casual Kotaro.
We like it. We like it when they like.
We like it.
Remember that was like an innovation by Jisoji.
Oh, with casual clothes.
Yeah, like the first time that happened was
right.
was in like the Metron episode of Ultraseven.
That episode's so good. It's crazy how good that episode is.
It's like iconic for a reason. Despite the fact that
them hanging around drinking coke,
Yeah.
like staking a place out. Oh.
Despite the fact that like Jisoji got sent to Kyoto as punishment for making it too Japanese.
He got punished for making one of the best episodes of Ultraseven.
It's like really funny because like it's like the spoon scene. Also, Jisoji, it's like was controversial among the production team when it aired, but now it's been like canonized as like this is one of the most important things in Ultraman.
Of course it is. He runs up to, after everything has been solved, he runs up to the roof, holds the spoon into the sky, and look, it's like, it's so good. The beat on the spoon is so perfect. It's executed perfectly.
And it only worked because like episode 30 something.
Yeah, we've had so finding out that one Pat Labor episode is not just a Godzilla joke, it's also a joke about that one episode of Ultraman. Yeah. I was like, oh, everything makes sense now. Oh man, it's Jisoji. When's he coming back?
We'll see.
Never, maybe. I don't know. He'll come back at some point.
I know, spoiling a bit, but he's got some stuff ahead. I won't say where, but he still shows up in some future seasons. Good.
Oh, I know he's in like some far off stuff that I don't know how far away it is, but
depending on when the fucking anime gets subbed, who knows how soon or late some of that stuff will be.
Yeah, no idea.
I love having certainty of our schedule.
Yeah, precisely. We're winging it. Okay. We might be done talking about Ultraman.
Yeah, we're good.
So, do we have any... Oh, first of all, color timers.
Yeah. Episode 9, 1 minute 34 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 10, 1 minute 39 seconds. Episode 11, 2 minutes 7 seconds. They've been really good this season.
You know what? That second episode, under 2 minutes, I was like, that's the best fight of this show so far.
Yeah.
All right. Nice one.
In and out.
Yeah. Do we have any emails this week?
Yeah, we got 2.
We're getting so many emails.
Maybe it's a sign that we're getting traction again.
Yeah. Time to tone down the. Time to stop talking about how I want to go Mao mode on my landlord.
Listen, we're just making sure that our audience is ideologically consistent.
Our audience doesn't have to be ideologically consistent. They can just learn to tolerate the. We will allow liberals to listen to this podcast if they can just be like, they're allowed, they're entitled to their opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, also I think we got we got a YouTube comment from someone.
Is it a substantial one?
It's just like from the one who watches 869. They say regarding the Ultra Q Pets email. They say,
Okay.
here's the cheat answer. I'm taking the train. Sometimes they'll bring me Spider-Man and Doctor Doom.
Okay.
Yep, that's the YouTube side. First time in a while.
Yeah.
Anyway. There's another email from Jessica. Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
The death of Pochi and Ultra Clothes.
Yeah.
So if I've timed this right, you should be reading this after watching Taro episode 9. Yep. Whose subtitles on Tubi are so poorly timed I had to skip it because I was getting a headache trying to keep everything straight.
Damn.
Episode 6 had me so very upset the whole time because as someone whose life largely revolves around caring for animals, any kind of balancing animals is very uncomfortable for me. For example, I nearly left the theater when I first saw Ant-Man because of the scene where they turn the lamb into goop. I didn't know that happens in Ant-Man.
I'm probably never going to watch Ant-Man, so I will never know.
Yeah. On the other hand, most shows would reveal at the end that Pochi was fine. On the other hand, this is the show era, and those writers just did fuck up shit like that sometimes.
Yeah. I'm sorry for the fact that we mostly just laughed about the fact that Pochi died. But yeah, I can understand finding it a little bit being like, what the fuck?
Much like the genocide counter, we're laughing because it's evil of the writers to do this.
Yes. I think the genocide one is like, it's like so ridiculous. It's like thing. This is like a very this is like more low level evil, but
yeah.
I definitely mostly just found it kind of. I like it when Ultraman gets absolutely like
ridiculous,
stupid about stuff like this sometimes. But I can definitely see like, oh man, you didn't have to kill the dog.
Yeah. All right. So next, she says, now for point of conversation, either an early concept or one of those magazines in 66 claimed that the silver parts of Ultraman's body were armor and the red parts were skin. That hasn't really endured, but it does pose the question: how much clothes are the Ultra family wearing? Is Ultraman naked? What about those plates on Seven's shoulders or the bumps on Zoffy's chest and shoulder? Plus the gloves and boots that are part of the costumes. Basically, how much clothing do you think the Ultras are actually wearing?
I take back my apology. This is the most distressing question we've had. Thank you very much. Let me think about this. Let me look at a picture of Ultraman. Okay. The suggestion that the red parts are skin and the silver parts are armor, I immediately look at Ultraman and I'm just like, he's got armor on his chest, on his legs, and his crotch is just free.
He's free.
he's just that's just skin.
I can tell you that's like just not a thing in the modern
I
canon.
assume.
But what does this mean for Ultraseven? Is Dan just out here?
Let me see Ultraseven. Ultraseven, because it's just like listen, Dan is the most free. Okay, I've just done a Google image search and I have seen a version of Ultraseven wearing a cape. The inside of the cape is silver and the outside of the cape is red. Now, I know that this is not true, but it is funny to imagine that the inside of the cape is armor and the outside is flesh.
Oh, no.
Do you like my skin cape?
I think a distressing number of Ultraman just have red crotches.
Oh, it is. It's a lot of them. Hang on. Right, but here's the thing. If you did... Because the silver is... There is kind of an implication of armor to it. Like a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
not much, but, like, in Ultra 7 especially, because you've got, like, the plate up top on the shoulders.
Yeah.
But, like, the moment you introduce silver around the crotch, you create codpiece in the brain.
Yeah.
You create the idea that there's something there to cover up. Which I think you don't do if it's just the red. How much of that... I did comment in episode 1 of Taro that the Mother of Ultra does just have nipples. Like, she does just have breasts. And I was like, well, aren't you, like... I'm pretty sure that's, like, a silver bit of you. Is that not metal? Like, what's going on here?
I do think, at least in modern suits for Mother Ultra, she doesn't have nipples, but, you know.
I assume so. Does she still have breasts?
Yeah.
Okay.
She still has a distinctly feminine figure. It's funny just how more gendered they become over time.
Yeah, it's like, you know, Ultraman shows up and is just like this weird thing. And then it's like, you know,
he's a man's man.
We've now got Ultras who are women.
Paradoxically, now. I think it was because of, like, the effort to try and do gender stuff with Ace that became more gendered.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah. Rip.
You ever like try to do something and backfire so much that you do the opposite forever?
Forever? They fucked up so bad.
They fucked up so bad they introduced the gender binary into the Ultra species.
that were previously already kind of weirdly genderless and like not like they were Ultra men, but like they were like weird alien creatures that didn't necessarily obey the same like binary ideas, right? Like there was no suggestion that there were women.
Yeah, and now we have the established Ultraman nuclear family.
Yeah. There is a father, there is a mother, and there are some kids.
Who may or may not be related.
Who may or may not be related. One of them may be a son of a friend of the father of Ultra who died in the war. What war, I hear you ask? Shush. Do not ask questions.
I've seen what Ultraman can do. There could be so many potential wars.
Okay, yeah. This is true. I can't wait to find out about all the aliens that the Ultras have completely genocided and gone like, they really forced our hand. It really wasn't our fault, I assure you.
Yeah, it was self-defense.
It was self-defense.
If you think about it.
It was self-defense every time. How many times is every time? Do not ask. Please. Please don't ask. It's embarrassing. I think that might be is there any more to this email?
There was one more thing. It's like another non-canon manga character with weird familial relations. I'm like 50-50 on actually mentioning it, just because, like, do I want to bring this up for a later episode where it's more relevant to talk about this?
We can save it. We'll save it this time. Thank you for your email.
I know exactly, because this is the thing I actually knew about, and I knew exactly when I was going to talk about it, and so I may as well save it for that.
Okay, cool. Thank you for your email. Your question caused me intense distress. Yeah.
I should at least save this email so I can refer back to it whenever we get to that episode, even though it'll be like half a year from now.
Okay.
She did also say, I made an Ultra family tree that may update as your understanding of this family tree evolves just because I can.
I see.
Which is fun. Yeah, this is basically just a family tree based off of the lore that Sixer gave us, so I will not share in the chat because you don't need to see that. Mm-hmm. This lore is truly ridiculous. But this is my favorite thing that I will share from this family tree because it's very important.
Go for it.
You do need to see it.
Okay. So, whoa! What? Huh?
Look at it.
Oh, okay. That was briefly terrifying. Okay, cool. Okay, one of them is in red.
Yeah, it's a gender.
Oh, okay. For a moment there, I thought it was deceased. So this is Ultraseven, and then it's got pets, open parentheses, probably, close parentheses, Queen Tortoise, King Tortoise. And then Mini Tortoise is not counted as a pet of Ultraseven. It is counted here as the child of Queen Tortoise and King Tortoise.
Yes.
And Queen Tortoise is coloured in red, not because Queen Tortoise is clearly dead, but because Queen Tortoise is a woman.
Yeah.
So they're now they're now pets for Ultraseven. That's good.
Yeah.
Dan keeps tortoises. It's cute.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for your email again once again, Jessica.
Yeah, thank you. I will. From now on, I will now constantly be thinking about the fact that, quote, not a fact, but the idea that the red parts might be skin.
I'm glad.
Which isn't true, but I will now be thinking about it.
Glad we have that horrible idea in our mind, thanks to some. I'm assuming, unless proven otherwise, it's Shoji Otomo specifically.
We can just blame him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Excellent.
Let me make a note for myself in the Google Doc for a sheet
to bring this email back up again.
Yes. Because it'll be like several months before we actually get back to this.
Mm-hmm.
I already have like a bunch of notes for the thing in question, but like, just,
mm-hmm.
Have to do research. Anyway, thank you once again. And another returning email from last week. Mothra fanboy has returned.
Welcome back.
They say, first off, thanks for reading my email last week. They do say they skipped to the email section to hear reactions because, they're still working through the shows.
I see. Sensible.
Yeah. They're saying, anyway, they finished Ultraman 66, and they say it was good, which is maybe not the opinion we have, but I'm glad you enjoyed it, and are enjoying our episodes.
Yeah.
I think you specifically get more negative on the show as time goes by.
Yes, I do. I start shit talking. The moment I get a taste of Ultraseven, I start to get a taste of also shit talking Ultraman. So
I remember
have fun with that.
I remember when I listened again to our Ultraman episodes, we were like weirdly high on that first batch of 10 episodes, and then by the end of the show, we're like, those episodes were terrible.
Here's the thing. The power of wanting to have a good time is real.
Yeah.
You can simply if you put your mind to it, you can enjoy a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there are shows I rank Ultraman above these days. Plural. I like in like a moment of like I wonder if this works. I put Blazer underneath Ultraman and saw if it felt right. To this day, I think yeah.
Damning of Blazer.
A little.
I think
it's more that Ultraman has some bangers.
Yeah, I guess it's just like a lot of people maybe there's some like over embellishment of how good Ultraman is, but also is a classic for a reason, and the reason is a lot of really banger episodes.
Yeah. Soji's cooking.
We were talking about the Skydon episode.
Yeah. Just Soji's cooking.
Speaking of, their next sentence is, and you're right about Soji.
Hell yeah.
They also say "and the Pearl episode," which I can't tell is sarcasm from this email, but maybe it is.
Yeah. Listen, the Pearl episode is we got to that and Brad read out the whole thing. Like, apparently this guy is like a really big deal in Ultraman, and he's supposed to be really cool. And we're like, we don't see it, and then we saw it like a week after.
Cold take on this podcast. Ultra Q is still better than Ultraman. If you think otherwise, you're wrong. Yeah,
true.
It's pretty normal for us around here. It's that simple. I'm looking forward to starring Ultraseven. My question. First of all, I guess First of all, I hope you enjoy Ultraseven. I think it's my favorite show we covered. I don't know if it's your favorite show, but I think it is. I know it's second for Brad. Brad's like pretty firmly the Ultra Q guy.
I can't like place. I'm not gonna pick between Ultra 7 and Ultra Q, just because they're doing to me they're doing different things. I know that they're not really, but they are kind of.
Yeah, that's fair. My question: Who would win, Redman or Jun?
Redman or Jun? I'm Jun. Is this like who would win in a fight or who's cooler?
Just let's do both.
Jun would win in a fight. Don't ask me how. He's also cooler.
I feel like Jun wouldn't die because of protagonist syndrome, but maybe he would lose.
Maybe he would lose. There would be some kind of other thing in the plot that defeats Redman for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe some kind of rolling log.
Oh yeah. You gotta watch out for those.
Yeah. I wonder if there's any gems like that in the other episodes of Red Band.
You'd hope, but also I'm good.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of Red Band for some reason.
Yeah.
I have to assume that like Godman and Green Man are just don't have the sauce in that way.
It's good to assume that because that means we won't necessarily have to watch them.
No. I'd only ever do it as a bonus anyway. But
yeah.
We don't have to watch Ultra's fight anymore. I think we got all the good episodes of that.
Yeah, there were some fantastic episodes, to be fair.
Yeah. We even looped back around to get the other last one.
Yeah.
And yeah, they said keep up the good work with great episodes.
Thank you. We will.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try. I can't guarantee, but yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good podcast.
Yeah. Tooting our own horn.
Yeah, I have to listen to it every week.
Yeah.
It better be good.
I choose to listen to it every week.
Yeah. Would I do that if I wasn't?
I mean, you're editing, so I don't think you would put yourself through it a second time.
I don't have a choice. But it's interesting. Anyway, it's a good show.
Yeah.
Thank you for your email.
Thank you to both of you for emails.
And
we were like, it's good. We can get emails. It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice to have emails.
It's like enough that we have like a decent section at the end, but it's not enough where it's like, well, now we need a mailbag at the end.
Right. Yeah.
That's like 5 years, and we have like 1,000 people who actually listen to us, which we're not quite at yet.
No. For now, you can follow us on Twitter at Ultra. Go. What?
Housekeeping.
Oh, housekeeping. Right. Yeah. Next week, we will be watching 2 episodes of Ultraman Taro and the sequel to the Gaiva. We will be watching Gaiva 2. Dark Hero.
The movie that definitely inspired Power Rangers.
Yes. I hear this one is maybe the real shit.
I'm under the impression that it's more accurate.
But will it be racist? Will it be racist? Will it have 40-year-old Mark Hamill?
I don't think so. I think he died.
He died. Spoilers for the Guyver.
Yeah.
40. When I was listening to because I rewatched the opening crawl of the Guyver, and then I realized, I got all this lore wrong. So we'll see what Dark Hero is like.
But also we decided after recording last week that the week after next week, we're gonna do another batch of Arc. So
we are going to stick to our original batches.
Yeah, my numerically sound formula.
Yeah, we're not going to be catching up to all of Arc. So what episodes will that be? That will be episode 3
to 7.
3 to 7.
Yeah,
so that's a reasonable number of episodes to do.
Yeah, it's like Arc's around
weeks.
like episode. Apparently, it's like halfway done. So we got some catching up to do. We'll figure it out as time goes on.
To be honest, halfway done's fine. Like that's still like half. That's still like 12 weeks. That's 3 months. We're fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be a gap in the winter break anyway. So we have space to catch up. It's just
Yeah.
We don't want to be too far behind.
No.
It's just that we took a break at the same time we had like a whole bunch of stuff, like with Ace ending and Taro starting, and like we planned out this Guyver stuff to deal with the numbers, and that meant we couldn't really shift where Guyver happened, and then also Brad had his particular weeks he couldn't do stuff. So
we've had a weird autumn. We're getting on, late summer, early autumn. So it's strange, but we're easing back into it.
Yeah. At some point in the next month, at the end of this month, the Blazer Blu-rays will be out in English, so we'll actually have the movie, and then hopefully it'll be available to us to deal with it.
Can you remind me when Blazer the show ended?
I think I have it written down in this spreadsheet. January 20th.
Yeah. So
of this year.
Yeah. So it's been a while.
Yep.
Thank you,
Looking forward to finding out how the show ends.
Yeah, for getting that to us as soon as possible. Cheers.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at Ultra_Q. That is at Ultra_QUEUE. You can also follow us on Blue Sky at UltraQ. That is Ultra QUEUE. No underscores on Blue Sky. It has sort of fucked up loads of people's usernames.
Yep.
And not yours. You were fine.
Mine was good, but the podcast one, yes.
I'm just complete. I live free. I just
like
pick
Ultraman.
usernames. I pick usernames at random. Yeah, like Ultraman. All right. Your plugs.
Hi, you can follow me at Dear Crowns on Twitter and Blue Sky. We have Gmail, ultraqpod@gmail.com, and we have the Coffee UltraQ Fund. Presumably, one day, subtitling things will come out of it. Right now, we don't get a lot.
Brad is also on this show, not today, but you can go check out his Twitter at Be Invoked, and also his YouTube, which is the same. He does not have a complete Let's Play of Elden Ring, where Amelia Watson does.
Presumably at some point we'll finish Tales of this. It's been hard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's like you need two people to be available at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just inherently a little more tricky.
My plan was to definitely finish 2 Tales games by this year, and then I didn't. So far. But if Tales is done, if Abyss is done by the end of the year, that's fine. It'll be satisfactory.
All I have to do is play Resident Evil, and I've done my backlog bingo.
That sounds nice.
Yeah. So I just need to play Resident. Yeah, get Duck Station working. I mean, grab my PlayStation 1. Officer.
I need to play Racing Lagoon.
Oh yeah.
But that will not be happening by the end of this month for the podcast.
No,
I still haven't finished Shenmue for last October's Emerald.
This is the thing with me is I don't listen to normal mapping on a monthly basis. I literally if I play a game and I'm like, I think that might have been an abnormal mapping game, and I go back and check and I go, oh, okay, I'll listen.
I listen if it's a game I'm not necessarily caring too much about spoilers and stuff. But if it's like I'm going to play this at some point, then I save it.
Yeah. Anyway, we're officially no longer making this podcast. This is this episode is done. Goodbye, everybody. Join us next week where we will be watching The Guyver 2.
We may be more hinged next week.
Slightly, yes. We'll see.
Anyway, later.
Bye.
Bye.
ウルトラ父の教え子